Shalom, and welcome back to the Cepher Daily Readings. Thank you so much for stopping by to follow along. I am Trish. I pray this is a blessing to you and may it glorify our Father, and all praise and glory to Him, Yahuwah, in the name of the Son, Yahusha HaMashiach. We are in Jubilees, Yovheliym, chapter 12. And it came to pass in the 6th week, in the 7th year thereof, that Abraham said to Terach his father, saying, Father. And he said, Behold, here I am, my son. Here am I, my son. And he said, What help and profit have we from those idols which you do worship, and before which you do bow yourself? For there is no ruach in them, for they are dumb forms, and a misleading of the heart. Worship them not. Worship the Elohim of heaven, who causes the rain and the dew to descend on the earth and does everything upon the earth, and has created everything by his word, and all life is from before his face. Why do you worship things that have no ruach in them? For they are the work of man's hands, and on your shoulders do you bear them, and you have no help from them. But they are a great cause of shame to those who make them, and a misleading of the heart to those who worship them. Worship them not. And his father said unto him, I also know it, my son, but what shall I do with the people who have made me to serve before them? And if I tell them the truth, they will slay me, for their soul cleaves to them to worship them and honor them. Keep silent, my son, lest they slay you. And these words he spoke to his two brothers, and they were angry with him, and he was silent. And in the 40th Jubilee, in the 2nd week, in the 7th year thereof, Abram took to himself a woman, and her name was Sarai, the daughter of his father, and she became his woman. And Haran, his brother, took to himself a woman in the 3rd year of the 3rd week, and she bore him a son in the 7th year of this week, and he called his name Lot. And Nachor, his brother, took to himself a woman, and in the 60th year of the life of Abram, that is, in the 4th week, in the 4th year thereof, Abram arose by night and burned the house of the idols, and he burned all that was in the house, and no man knew it. And they arose in the night and sought to save their Elohim from the midst of the fire. And Haran hastened to save them, but the fire flamed over him, and he was burnt in the fire, and he died in of the Kasdim before Terach his father, and they buried him in of the Kasdim. And Terach went forth from of the Kasdim, he and his sons, to go into the land of Lebanon and into the land of Canaan, and he dwelt in the land of Haran. And Abram dwelt with Terach his father in Haran 2 weeks of years. And in the 6th week, in the 5th year thereof, Abram sat up throughout the night on the new moon of the 7th month to observe the stars from the evening to the morning, in order to see what the character of the year with regard to the rains would be. And he was alone as he sat and observed. And a word came into his heart, and he said, All the signs of the stars and the signs of the moon and of the sun are all in the hand of Yahuwah. Why do I search for them? If he desires, he causes it to rain, morning and evening. And if he desires, he withholds it. And all the things are in his hand. And he prayed that night and said, My Elohim, El Elyon, you alone are my Elohim, and you and your dominion have I chosen. And you have created all things, and all things that are the work of your hands. Deliver me from the hands of evil ruach, who have dominion over the thoughts of men's hearts, and let them not lead me astray from you, my Elohim. And establish me and my seed forever, that we go not astray from henceforth and forevermore. And he said, Shall I return unto the Kasdim, who seek my face, that I may return to them? Am I to remain here in this place? The right path before you prosper it in the hands of your servant, that he may fulfill it, and that I may not walk in the deceitfulness of my heart, O Eloi. And he made an end of speaking and praying, and behold, the word of Yahuwah was sent to him through me, saying, Get you up from your country, and from your kindred, and from the house of your father, unto a land which I will show you, and I shall make you a great and numerous nation. And I will bless you, and I will make your name great, and you shall be blessed in the earth, and in you shall all families of the earth be blessed. And I will bless them that bless you, and curse them that curse you. And I will be an Elohim to you and your son, and to your son's son, and to all your seed. Fear not, from henceforth and unto all generations of the earth, I am your Elohim. And Yahuwah Elohim said, Open his mouth and his ears, that he may hear and speak with his mouth, with the language which has been revealed. For it had ceased from the mouths of all the children of men from the day of the overthrow of Babel. And I opened his mouth and his ears and his lips, and I began to speak with him in Ivrit, in the tongue of the creation. And he took the Cepher Reading of his fathers, and these were written in Ivrit, and he transcribed them, and he began from henceforth to study them. And I made known to him that with which he could not understand, and he studied them during the 6 rainy months. And it came to pass in the 7th year of the 6th week that he spoke to his father, and informed him that he would leave Haran to go into the land of Canaan to see it and return to him. And Terach his father said unto him, Go in peace. May the eternal Elohim make your path straight, and Yahuwah be with you, and protect you from all evil, and grant unto you grace, mercy and favor before those who see you. And may none of the children of men have power over you to harm you. Go in peace. And if you see a land pleasant to your eyes to dwell in, then arise, and take me to you, and take Lot with you, the son of Haran, your brother, as your own son. Yahuwah be with you. And Nachor, your brother, leave with me till you return in your peace, and we go with you all together. Chapter 13. And Abram journeyed from Haran, and he took Sarai his woman, and Lot his brother Haran's son, to the land of Canaan. And he came into Ashur, and proceeded to Shechem, and dwelt near a lofty oak. And he saw, and behold, the land was very pleasant, from the entering of Hamath to the lofty oak. And Yahuwah said to him, To you and to your seed will I give this land. And he built an altar there, and he offered thereon an ascending smoke sacrifice to Yahuwah, who had appeared to him. And he removed from thence unto the mountain, Bet-El on the west, and Ai on the east, and pitched his tent there. And he saw, and behold, the land was very wide and good, and everything grew thereon, vines and figs and pomegranates, oaks and ilexes, and terebinths and oil trees, and cedars and cypresses and date trees, and all trees of the field. And there was water on the mountains. And he blessed Yahuwah, who had led him out of Ur of the Kasdiim, and had brought him to this land. And it came to pass in the 1st year, in the 7th week, on the new moon of the 1st month, that he built an altar on this mountain, and called on the name of Yahuwah. You, the eternal Elohim, are my Elohim. And he offered on the altar an ascending smoke sacrifice unto Yahuwah, that he should be with him, and not forsake him all the days of his life. And he removed from thence and went towards the Negeb. And he came to Hebron, and Hebron was built at that time. And he dwelt there 2 years. And he went thence into the land of the Negeb to Baalot, and there was a famine in the land. And Abram went into Mitzrayim in the 3rd year of the week, and he dwelt in Mitzrayim 5 years before his woman was torn away from him. Now, Tanas in Mitzrayim was at that time built 7 years after Hebron. And it came to pass when Pharaoh seized Sarai, the woman of Abram, that Yahuwah plagued Pharaoh and his house with great plagues because of Sarai, Abram's woman. And Abram was very glorious by reason of possessions in sheep and cattle and asses, and horses, and camels, and men servants, and maid servants, and in silver and gold exceedingly. And Lot, also his brother's son, was wealthy. And Pharaoh gave back Sarai, the woman of Abram, and he sent him out of the land of Mitzrayim, and he journeyed to the place where he had pitched his tent at the beginning, to the place of the altar, with Ai on the east and Bet-El on the west. And he blessed Yahuwah Elohim, who had brought him back in peace. And it came to pass in the 41st Jubilee in the 3rd year of the 1st week, that he returned to this place and offered thereon an ascending smoke sacrifice, and called on the name of Yahuwah, and said, You, El Elyon, are my Elohim forever and ever. And in the 4th year of this week, Lot parted from him, and Lot dwelt in Siddim, and the men of Siddim were sinners exceedingly. And it grieved him in his heart that his brother's son had parted from him, for he had no children. In that year, when Lot was taken captive, Yahuwah said unto Abram, after that Lot had parted from him, in the 4th year of this week, Lift up your eyes from the place where you are dwelling, northward and southward, and westward and eastward. For all the land which you see, I will give to you and to your seed forever, and I will make your seed as the sand of the sea. Though a man may number the dust of the earth, yet your seed shall not be numbered. Arise, walk through the land in the length of it, and the breadth of it, and see it all. For to your seed will I give it. And Abram went to Hebron and dwelt there. And in this year came Chedorlaomer, the king of Elam, and Amraphel, king of Shinar, and Arioch, king of Elasar, and Tidal, king of nations, and slew the king of Amorah, and the king of Siddim fled, and many fell through wounds in the valley of Siddim by the salt sea. And they took captive Siddim and Adam and Sivin, and they took captive Lot, also the son of Abram's brother, and all his possessions, and they went to Dan. And one who had escaped came and told Abram that his brother's son had been taken captive, and Abram armed his household servants. For Abram and for his seed, 1/10 of the first fruits to Yahuwah, and Yahuwah ordained it as an ordinance forever, that they should give it to the priests who served before him, that they should possess it forever. And to this Torah there is no limit of days, for he has ordained it for the generations forever, that they should give to Yahuwah the 10th of everything, of the seed, and of the wine, and of the oil, and of the cattle, and of the sheep. And he gave it unto his priests to eat and to drink with joy before him. And the king of Siddim came to him and bowed before him and said, Our Adonai Abraham, give unto us the souls which you have rescued, but let the booty be yours. And Abram said unto him, I lift up my hands to El Elyon, that from a thread to a shoe latchet I shall not take anything that is yours, lest you should say, I have made Abram rich, save only what the young men have eaten, and the portion of the men who went with me, Aner, Eshcol, and Mamre. These shall take their portion. Chapter 14. After these things, in the 4th year of this week, on the new moon of the 3rd month, the word of Yahuwah came to Abraham in a dream, saying, Fear not, Abram, I am your defender, and your reward will be exceedingly great. And he said, Yahuwah, Yahuwah, what will you give me, seeing I go hence childless? And the son of Masek, the son of my handmaid, is the Damascus Eliezer. He will be my heir, and to me you have given no seed. And he said unto him, This man will not be your heir, but one that will come out of your own generation, he will be your heir. And he brought him forth abroad and said unto him, Look toward heaven, and number the stars, if you are able to number them. And he looked toward heaven, and beheld the stars. And he said unto him, So shall your seed be. And he believed in Yahuwah, and it was counted to him for righteousness. And he said unto him, I am Yahuwah that brought you out of of the Chaldeans, to give you the land of the Canaanium to possess it forever. And I will be Elohim unto you and to your seed after you. And he said, Yahuwah, Yahuwah, whereby shall I know that I shall inherit it? And he said unto him, Take me a heifer of 3 years, and a goat of 3 years, and a sheep of 3 years, and a turtle dove, and a pigeon. And he took all these in the middle of the month, and he dwelt at the oak of Mamre, which is near Hebron. And he built there an altar, and sacrificed all these. And he poured their blood upon the altar, and divided them in the midst, and laid them over against each other. But the birds divided he not. And birds came down upon the pieces. And Abram drove them away, and did not suffer the birds to touch them. And it came to pass, when the sun had set, that an ecstasy fell upon Abram, and lo, a horror of great darkness fell upon him. And it was said unto Abram, Know of a surety that your seed shall be a stranger in a land that is not theirs, and they shall bring them into bondage, and afflict them 400 years. And the nation also to whom they will be in bondage will I judge. And after that they shall come forth thence with much substance. And you shall go to your fathers in peace, and be buried in a good old age. But in the 4th generation they shall return hither, for the iniquity of the Amoreum is not yet full. And he awoke from his sleep, and he arose, and the sun had set. And there was a flame, and behold, a furnace was smoking, and a flame of fire passed between the pieces. And on that day Yahuwah cut a covenant with Abram, saying, To your seed will I give this land, from the river of Mizraim unto the great river, the river Parat, the Quinanim, the Kenizim, the Kadmonim, the Perizim, and the Rephaim, the Pakurim, and the Hiviim, and the Amoreim, and the Kenanim, and the Girgashim, and the Yebusim. And the day passed, and Abram offered the pieces, and the birds, and their fruit offerings, and their drink offerings, and the fire devoured them. And on that day we cut a covenant with Abram, according as we had covenanted with Noach in this month. And Abram renewed the feast and ordinance for himself forever. And Abram rejoiced and made all these things known to Sarai his woman, and he believed that he would have seed, but she did not bear. And Sarai advised her man Abram, and said unto him, Go in unto Hagar, my Mitzri maid. It may be that I shall build up seed unto you by her. And Abram hearkened unto the voice of Sarai his woman, and said unto her, Do so. And Sarai took Hagar, her maid, the Mitzri, and gave her to Abram, her man, to be his woman. And he went in unto her, and she conceived, and bore him a son. And he called his name Ishmael, in the 5th year of this week, and this was the 86th year in the life of Abram. Chapter 15. And in the 5th year of the 4th week of this Jubilee, in the 3rd month, in the middle of the month, Abram celebrated the feast of the first fruits of the grain harvest. And he offered new offerings on the altar, the first fruits of the produce, unto Yahuwah, a heifer and a goat and a sheep on the altar, as an ascending smoke sacrifice unto Yahuwah. Their fruit offerings and their drink offerings he offered upon the altar with frankincense. And Yahuwah appeared to Abram and said unto him, I am El Shaddai. Walk before me and be perfect. And I will make my covenant between me and you, and I will multiply you exceedingly. And Abram fell on his face. And Elohim talked with him and said, Behold, my ordinance is with you, and you shall be the father of many nations. Neither shall your name any more be called Abram, but your name from henceforth, even forever, shall be Abraham. For the father of many nations have I made you. And I will make you very great, and I will make you into nations, and kings shall come forth from you. And I shall establish my covenant between me and you, and your seed after you, throughout their generations, for an eternal covenant, so that I may be an Elohim unto you and to your seed after you, and unto the land where you have been a sojourner, the land of Canaan, that you may possess it forever, and I will be their Elohim. And Yahuwah said unto Abraham, and as for you, do you guard my covenant, you and your seed after you, and circumcise you every male among you, and circumcise your foreskins, and it shall be a sign of an eternal covenant between me and you. And the child on the 8th day you shall circumcise, every male throughout your generations, him that is born in the house, or whom you have bought with money from any stranger, whom you have acquired, who is not of your seed. He that is born in your house shall surely be circumcised, and those whom you have bought with money shall be circumcised, and my covenant shall be in your flesh for an eternal ordinance. And this uncircumcised male who is not circumcised in the flesh of his foreskin on the 8th day, that soul shall be cut off from his people, for he has broken my covenant. And Elohim said unto Abraham, as for Sarai your woman, her name shall no more be called Sarai, but Sarah shall be her name. And I will bless her, and give you a son by her, and I will bless him, and he shall become a nation, and kings of nations shall proceed from him. And Abraham fell on his face, and rejoiced, and said in his heart, shall a son be born to him that is 100 years old? And shall Sarah, who is 90 years old, bring forth? And Abraham said unto Elohim, oh, that Ishmael might live before you. And Elohim said, yea, and Sarah also shall bear you a son, and you shall call his name Yitzhak. And I will establish my covenant with him, an everlasting covenant, and for his seed after him. And as for Ishmael, also have I heard you, and behold, I will bless him, and make him great, and multiply him exceedingly. And he shall beget 12 princes, and I will make him a great nation. But my covenant will I establish with Yitzhak, whom Sarah shall bear to you in these days, in the next year. And he left off speaking with him, and Elohim went up from Abraham. And Abraham did according as Elohim had said unto him, and he took Ishmael his son, and all that were born in his house, and whom he had bought with his money, every male in his house, and circumcised the flesh of their foreskin. And on the selfsame day was Abraham circumcised, and all the men of his house, and all those whom he had bought with money from the children of the stranger were circumcised with him. This Torah is for all the generations forever, and there is no circumcision of the days, and no omission of one day out of the 8 days, for it is an eternal ordinance, ordained and written on the heavenly tablets. And everyone that is born, the flesh of whose foreskin is not circumcised on the 8th day, belongs not to the children of the covenant which Yahuwah made with Abraham, but to the children of destruction. Nor is there moreover any sign on him that he is Yahuwah's. But he is destined to be destroyed and slain from the earth, and to be rooted out of the earth, for he has broken the covenant of Yahuwah Elohim. For all the angels of the presence and all the angels of sanctification have been so created from the day of their creation. And before the angels of the presence and the angels of sanctification, he has sanctified Yasharel, that they should be with him and with his holy angels. And do you command the children of Yasharel, and let them observe the sign of this covenant for their generations, as an eternal ordinance, and they will not be rooted out of the land. For the command is ordained for a covenant, that they should observe it forever among all the children of Yasharel. For Ishmael and his sons and his brothers and Esau, Yahuwah did not approach him, and he chose them not because they are the children of Abraham, because he knew them, but he chose Yasharel to be his people, and he sanctified it and gathered it from amongst all the children of men. For there are many nations and many peoples, and all are his. And over all has he placed Ruchoth in authority to lead them astray from him. But over Yasharel he did not appoint any angel or Ruach, for he alone is their ruler, and he will guard them and require them at the hand of his angels and his Ruach, and at the hand of all his powers, in order that he may guard them and bless them, and that they may be his, and he may be theirs from henceforth forever. And now I announce unto you that the children of Yasharel will not guard true to this ordinance, and they will not circumcise their sons according to all this Torah. For in the flesh of their circumcision they will omit this circumcision of their sons, and all of them, sons of Belial, will leave their sons uncircumcised as they were born. And there will be great wrath from Yahuwah against the children of Yasharel, because they have forsaken his covenant, and turned aside from his word, and provoked and blasphemed, inasmuch as they do not observe the ordinance of this Torah. For they have treated their members like the other nations, so that they may be removed and rooted out of the land. And there will no more be pardon or forgiveness unto them, so that there should be forgiveness and pardon for all the sin of this eternal error. Chapter 16. And on the new moon of the 4th month we appeared unto Abraham at the oak of Mamre, and we talked with him, and we announced to him that a son would be given to him by Sarah his woman. And Sarah laughed, for she heard that we had spoken these words with Abraham. And we admonished her, and she became afraid, and denied that she had laughed on account of the words. And we told her the name of her son, as his name is ordained and written in the heavenly tablets, that is, Yitzhak. And that when we returned to her at a set time, she would have conceived a son. And in this month, Yahuwah executed his judgments on Sedom and Amorah and Zeboim and all the region of the Yarden, and he burned them with fire and brimstone and destroyed them until this day. Even as lo, I have declared unto you all their words, that they are wicked and sinners exceedingly, and that they defile themselves and commit fornication in their flesh, and work uncleanness on the earth. And in like manner, Elohim will execute judgment on the places where they have done according to the uncleanness of the Siddim, like unto the judgment of Siddim. But Lot, I'm going to read verse 6 again. And in like manner, Elohim will execute judgment on the places where they have done according to the uncleanness of the Siddimim, like unto the judgment of Siddim. But Lot we saved, for Elohim remembered Abraham and sent him out from the midst of the overthrow. And he and his daughters committed sin upon the earth, such as had not been on the earth since the days of Adam till his time. For the man lay with his daughters. And behold, it was commanded and engraved concerning all his seed on the heavenly tablets to remove them and root them out, and to execute judgment upon them like the judgment of Siddim, and to leave no seed of the man on earth on the day of condemnation. And in this month Abraham moved from Hebron and departed and dwelt between Kadesh and Shur in the mountains of Gerar. In the middle of the 5th month he moved from thence and dwelt at the well of the oath. And in the middle of the 6th month Yahuwah visited Sarah, and did unto her as he had spoken, and she conceived. And she bore a son in the 3rd month, and in the middle of the month, at the time of which Yahuwah had spoken to Abraham, on the feast of the first fruits of the harvest, Yitzhak was born. And Abraham circumcised his son on the 8th day. He was the first that was circumcised according to the covenant which is ordained forever. And in the 6th year of the 4th week, we came to Abraham, to the well of the oath, and we appeared unto him as we had told Sarah, that we should return to her, and she would have conceived a son. And we returned in the 7th month, and found Sarah with child before us, and we blessed him. And we announced to him all the things which had been decreed concerning him, that he should not die till he should beget 6 sons more, and should see them before he died. But that in Yitzhak that should his name and seed be called, and that all the seed of his sons should be the other nations, and be reckoned with the other nations. But from the sons of Yitzhak one should become a holy seed, and should not be reckoned among the other nations. For he should become the portion of Elyon, and all his seed had fallen into the possession of Elohim, that it should be unto Yahuwah a people for his possession above all nations, and that it should become a kingdom, and priests, and a holy nation. And we went our way, and we announced to Sarah all that we had told him, and they both rejoiced with exceeding great joy. And he built there an altar to Yahuwah, who had delivered him, and who was making him rejoice in the land of his sojourning. And he celebrated a feast of joy in this month 7 days, near the altar which he had built at the well of the oath. And he built Sukkot for himself and for his servants on this feast. And he was the first to celebrate the feast of Sukkot on the earth. And during these 7 days he brought each day to the altar an ascending smoke offering to Yahuwah, 2 oxen, 2 rams, 7 sheep, 1 he-goat for a sin offering, that he might atone thereby for himself and for his seed. And as a thank offering, 7 rams, 7 kids, 7 sheep, and 7 he-goats, and their fruit offerings and their drink offerings. And he burnt all the fat thereof on the altar, a chosen offering unto Yahuwah for a sweet-smelling savor. And morning and evening he burnt fragrant substances, frankincense, and galbanum, and stacte, and nard, and myrrh, and spice, and custom. All these 7 he offered, crushed, mixed together in equal parts, and pure. And he celebrated this feast during 7 days, rejoicing with all his heart and with all his soul, he and all those who were in his house. And there was no stranger with him, nor any that was uncircumcised. And he blessed his Creator, who had created him in his generation. For he had created him according to his good pleasure. For he knew and perceived that from him would arise the plant of righteousness for the eternal generations, and from him a holy seed, so that it should become like him who had made all things. And he blessed and rejoiced, and he called the name of this feast the feast of Yahuwah, a joy acceptable to El Elyon. And we blessed him forever, and all his seed after him throughout all the generations of the earth, because he celebrated this feast in its season, according to the testimony of the heavenly tablets. For this reason it is ordained on the heavenly tablets concerning Yasharel, that they shall celebrate the feast of Sukkot 7 days with joy, in the 7th month acceptable before Yahuwah, a statute forever throughout their generations every year. And to this there is no limit of days, for it is ordained forever regarding Yasharel that they should celebrate it and dwell in Sukkot, and set wreaths upon their heads, and take leafy boughs and willows from the brook. And Abraham took branches of palm trees, and the fruit of goodly trees, and every day going round the altar with the branches 7 times a day in the morning, he praised and gave thanks to his Elohim for all things in joy. Chapter 17. And in the 1st year of the 5th week, Yitzhak was weaned in this Jubilee, and Abraham made a great banquet in the 3rd month, on the day his son Yitzhak was weaned. And Ishmael, the son of Hagar, the Mitzri, was before the face of Abraham, his father, in his place. And Abraham rejoiced and blessed Elohim because he had seen his sons and had not died childless. And he remembered the words which he had spoken to him on the day on which Lot had parted from him. And he rejoiced because Yahuwah had given him seed upon the earth to inherit the earth. And he blessed with all his mouth the Creator of all things. And Sarah saw Ishmael playing and dancing, and Abraham rejoicing with great joy. And she became jealous of Ishmael, and said to Abraham, Cast out this bondwoman and her son, for the son of this bondwoman will not be heir with my son Yitzhak. And the thing was grievous in Abraham's sight, because of his maidservant and because of his son, that he should drive them from him. And Elohim said to Abraham, Let it not be grievous in your sight, because of the child and because of the bondwoman. In all that Sarah has said unto you, hearken to her words and do them. For in Yitzhak shall your name and seed be called. But as for the son of this bondwoman, I will make him a great nation, because he is your seed. He is of your seed. And Abraham rose up early in the morning and took bread and a bottle of water, and placed them on the shoulders of Hagar and the child, and sent her away. And she departed and wandered in the wilderness of Beersheba. And the water in the bottle was spent, and the child thirsted, and was not able to go on, and fell down. And his mother took him and cast him under an olive tree, and went and sat her down over against him, at the distance of a bow shot. For she said, Let me not see the death of my child. And as she sat, she wept. And an angel of Elohim, one of the holy ones, said unto her, Why weep you, Hagar? Arise, take the child, and hold him in your hand. For Elohim has heard your voice, and has seen the child. And she opened her eyes, and she saw a well of water. And she went and filled her bottle with water. And she gave her child to drink. And she arose and went towards the wilderness of Paran. And the child grew and became an archer, and Elohim was with him. And his mother took him a woman from among the daughters of the Mitzrayim, and she bore him a son, and he called his name Nebaioth. She called his name Nebaioth, for she said, Yahuwah was nigh to me when I called upon him. And it came to pass in the 7th week, in the 1st year thereof, in the 1st month, in this Jubilee, on the 12th of this month, there were voices in heaven regarding Abraham, that he was faithful in all that he told him, and that he loved Yahuwah, and that in every affliction he was faithful. And the prince Mastema came and said before Elohim, Behold, Abraham loves Yitzhak his son, and he delights in him above all things else. Bid him to offer him an ascending smoke offering on the altar, and you will see if he will do this command, and you will know if he is faithful in everything wherein you do try him. And Yahuwah knew that Abraham was faithful in all his afflictions, for he had tried him through his country and with famine, and had tried him with the wealth of kings, and had tried him again through his woman, when she was torn from him, and with circumcision, and had tried him through Ishmael and Hagar, his maidservant, when he sent them away. And in everything wherein he had tried him, he was found faithful, and his soul was not impatient, and he was not slow to act, for he was faithful and a lover of Yahuwah. Chapter 18. And Elohim said to him, Abraham, Abraham. And he said, Behold, here am I. And he said, Take your Yachid, whom you love, even Yitzhak, and go unto the high country, and offer him on one of the mountains which I will point out unto you. And he arose early in the morning, and saddled his ass, and took his 2 young men with him, and Yitzhak his son, and clave the wood of the ascending smoke offering. And he went to the place on the 3rd day, and he saw the place afar off. And he came to a well of water. And he said to his young men, Abide you here with the ass, and I and the lad shall go yonder. And when we have worshipped, we shall come again to you. And he took the wood of the ascending smoke offering, and laid it on Yitzhak his son. And he took in his hand the fire and the knife. And they went both of them together to that place. And Yitzhak said to his father, Father. And he said, Here am I, my son. And he said unto him, Behold the fire, and the knife, and the wood. But where is the sheep for the ascending smoke offering, father? And he said, Elohim will provide himself a sheep for an ascending smoke offering, my son. And he drew near to the place of the mount of Elohim. And he built an altar, and he placed the wood on the altar, and bound Yitzhak his son, and placed him on the wood, which was upon the altar, and stretched forth his hand to take the knife to slay Yitzhak his son. And I stood before him and before the prince Mastema, and Yahuwah said, Bid him not to lay his hand on the lad, nor to do anything to him, for I have shown that he fears Yahuwah. And I called to him from heaven, and said unto him, Abraham, Abraham. And he was terrified, and said, Behold, here am I. And I said unto him, Lay not your hand upon the lad, neither do you anything to him, for now I have shown that you fear Yahuwah, and have not withheld your son, your firstborn, from me. And the prince Mastema was put to shame. And Abraham lifted up his eyes and looked, and behold, a ram caught by his horns. And Abraham went and took the ram and offered it for an ascending smoke offering in the stead of his son. And Abraham called that place Yahuwah Yireh, so that it is said, Yahuwah has seen. That is Mount Zion. And Yahuwah called Abraham by his name a second time from heaven, as he caused us to appear to speak to him in the name of Yahuwah. And he said, By myself have I sworn, says Yahuwah, because you have done this thing, and have not withheld your son, your Yachid, from me, that in blessing I will bless you, and in multiplying I will multiply your seed as the stars of heaven, and as the sand which is on the seashore. And your seed shall inherit the cities of its enemies, and in your seed shall all nations of the earth be blessed, because you have obeyed my voice. And I have shown to all that you are faithful unto me in all that I have said unto you. Go in peace. And Abraham went to his young men, and they arose and went together to Beersheba. And Abraham dwelt by the well of the oath. And he celebrated this feast every year, 7 days with joy. And he called it the feast of Yahuwah, according to the 7 days during which he went and returned in peace. And accordingly has it been ordained and written on the heavenly tablets regarding Yasharel and his seed, that they should observe this feast 7 days with the joy of feast. The end of chapter 18. Psalms, Tehilliym, chapter 51. Natsach of David, when Nathan the prophet came unto him after he had gone into Bathsheba. Have mercy upon me, O Elohim, according to your loving kindness. According unto the multitude of your tender mercies, blot out my transgressions. Wash me thoroughly from my iniquity, and cleanse me from my sin. For I acknowledge my transgressions, and my sin is ever before me. Against you, you only have I sinned, and done this evil in your sight, that you might be justified when you speak, and be clear when you judge. Behold, I was shaped in iniquity, and in sin did my mother conceive me. Behold, you desire truth in the inward parts, and in the hidden part you shall make me know wisdom. Purge me with hyssop, and I shall be clean. Wash me, and I shall be whiter than snow. Make me to hear joy and gladness, that the bones which you have broken may rejoice. Hide your face from my sins and blot out all my iniquities. Create in me a clean heart, O Elohim, and renew a right ruach within me. Cast me not away from your presence, and take not your ruach hakodesh from me. Restore unto me the joy of your deliverance, and uphold me with your free ruach. Then will I teach transgressors your ways, and sinners shall be turned back unto you. Deliver me from blood guiltiness, O Elohim, Eloi of my deliverance, and my tongue shall sing aloud of your righteousness. O Adonai, open my lips, and my mouth shall show forth your praise. For you desire not sacrifice, else would I give it. You delight not in ascending smoke offering. The sacrifices of Elohim are a broken ruach, a broken and a contrite heart, O Elohim, you will not despise. Do good in your good pleasure. Do good in your good pleasure unto Zion. Build the walls of Jerusalem. Then shall you be pleased with the sacrifices of righteousness, with ascending smoke offering and whole ascending smoke offering. Then shall they offer bullocks upon your altar. That's the end of Psalm 51. Hallelujah. Praise the Most High Yah, in the name of the Son, Yahushua HaMashiach, who hung and bled and died for our sins. Thank you so much for this time. Thank you for following along. I pray this is a blessing to you, and may this glorify our Father and our Creator. I thank Him for allowing me to be part of His creation and for allowing me the time to repent and to know the Word. So study, and Yah willing, I'll see you tomorrow. Shalom.